Hi everyone, welcome back to Dragonfly Projects and a Homestead. My name is Alex. Today we're working on the Christmas tree farm. As you can see behind me, a couple trees fell over from winds and the ice storm we had recently. So I need to take those down. Our seedlings have arrived. I have 50 Fraser firs, 50 Norway spruce, and 50 blue Colorado spruce that need to go in the ground within the next 2 days because they are now out of cold storage. This pile needs to go because we have to get rid of it. So the plan for today is cut down some of the trees, get them out of the way, probably just make a pile for when I have the wood chipper to get some wood chips. I need to measure my layout, figure out how far into the birches I want to go because I want to transform this section into a giant rectangle, and the trees that are already planted are not in line with that rectangle, so I'm gonna have to recorrect that with the way we're gonna plant today. There's a lot of tree stumps in the way, so today, big day, making space, clearing it out, finding the tree stumps, finding my layout, and then hopefully maybe we'll get to planting the trees today. Otherwise, we'll get to it tomorrow. It's been very rainy all week, but we have a nice 2 days of sun. Beautiful day today, so hopefully we can get started and get things done this weekend. While I was trying to get the pile to be smaller because there is a size limit to how big the pile can be in my township, I realized that underneath the brushes and the branches, this thing is basically compost now. You can see over there, and it was extremely wet. So this pile has been here a lot longer than the 2 years the owner told me it's been here, and that's why I was probably having such a hard time catching on fire because everything was so wet. So brought the branches up. Hopefully the sun did its job and dried the top. Once this is burned, I'll probably just take the tractor and I'll just push some of that compost to level it out, and it should make for a nice fertile soil for the trees. And there's also a couple random wild raspberries growing on the side here. So I took the shovel and I took out a couple plants, and I'm gonna see if I can't plant them in the orchard. No wonder the trees were growing so well. They're growing in compost. So I'm trying to square up with the line I already drew over there. So I'm using the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared in a triangle. So 60 feet 32 feet. A squared plus B squared, I think, was 4,624. The square root of that number is 68, so 68 feet should be my diagonal. I'm at 67 feet and 10 inches, so I'm off by 2 inches. So it seems fairly square. Cool, so we have 2 rows measured and marked where the trees will go. The spacing we ended up with is 6 by 8, so 6 by 8. That equals to approximately 940 trees per acre, give or take. I could have gone 6 by 6, but I want a bit more room between the rows so that I can still fit the tractor through. The old one over here is 7 by 10, so I want a little narrower to have a bit more room, but I still want the freedom of movement. These rows are perpendicular to the creek that travels all the way there. That marks a nice natural western limit to the field, and that goes all the way inside of the birches that we'll have to get rid of eventually. Rough math says approximately 3 rows needed for the 3 species I have purchased this year. So we're gonna have 3 rows of Norway spruce, 3 rows of blue spruce, and 3 rows of Fraser fir. So my dad and sister are gonna start planting while I finish up with the stump grinder so that they can follow me and they don't have to wait for me right now.
Oh, do.
Maman.
Oui, mon amour.
Start of day 2. Start of day 2. Yesterday we got 50 Norway spruce planted. So same for today. We're gonna grind some stumps. My father and sister are gonna come over. We're gonna complete the layouts. And yesterday brush pile number 1 burned down significantly. Today we're gonna do number 2. And while that's burning, we're gonna continue on the 100 trees left to plant. Let's get to work. I also have a feeling that we have maybe a week left that we can use to work outside before the bugs, mosquitoes, and flies become an issue. Well, here we are, 150 trees planted in 2 days. We ended up with 9 rows. There's about 16 to 17 per row, depending on the row itself. Everything is in line with the creek and what will eventually be the full Christmas tree farm. As opposed, if you see here, we're in a row, and if we turn around, this is in relation to the trees that were already there. So we'll start harvesting these guys as we go, and then the replanted farm will line up and be square with the field. So the first 3 rows here, we have some Fraser fir. After the Frasers, we have some Colorado blue spruce. Although it's funny because looking at it, the other one almost looks more blue. This one looks more blue. So we have Colorado blue spruce. And the last one. Last one is Norway spruce. Sorry, 100 spruce, 50 firs. I had ordered also 50 balsam firs, but they were out of stock of that one. But at the end of the day, I'm happy we only had 150 trees. If you check, every tree was planted. Piece of cardboard was installed. The cardboard is to kill any grass, weeds, anything competing around the tree so that it gets smothered and turns into compost. And then it's covered up with wood chips, but this is really old wood chips. It's almost more compost than wood chips. So this will break down and get back into the soil, feeding the tree, and it won't have to compete in the direct vicinity against weeds, grass, and whatnot. So it gives it a better chance of surviving. And if all goes well, these 9 rows will be hands off. for the next 3 years, and then we'll come back in 3 years and we'll start shaping them. Mosquitoes are out, they're babies, but they're already biting. Once the sun went away and there was no wind, it's pretty miserable. Now we just have to wait for June and we can start shaping these trees and get them ready for Christmas 2023. The piles over there burn nicely. Now what I'll do is I'll take the tractor and I'll push everything that way, spreading whatever is there. Eventually it'll break down and make some nice compost. And whatever is underneath, I feel, is already compost. So it should give the soil a nice little bump in nutrients in preparation for the farm that should not appear here before, I'm thinking, probably year 4. Because next year and this summer we'll start cutting down those trees and grinding those stumps and pushing over there, so that next spring, once we're ready, we can keep on pushing that way. And then we'll see size wise how many trees we want, what kind of numbers we're looking at. And again, 8 feet between rows and 6 feet between trees should give us about 940 trees per acre. And this whole farm should be give or take 3 acres. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Big thanks to my family. My dad and my sister were here for both days helping out, and my mom helped out today. It was a massive help. They were planting, measuring stuff while I was grinding with the stump grinder. The stump grinder was a game changer. Otherwise, there's a couple times that my rows would have looked a little wonky because I would have had to go around some stumps. At the end of the day, all we had to do is grind a little deeper, get rid of it, and then we could plant wherever we wanted. And it made things a lot nicer. It'll be easier to come in here with the cadet just to mow the grass, get it nice and even. Usually in that section over there, I wait until the flowers are done. So that's probably going to be another month before I mow for the first time, so I give chance to the insects and the pollinators to have some food, and then they can do their insecting. Especially with the orchard, I want the pollinators to have plenty of food, and I want them to be attracted so that they can go to the orchard. Orchard's doing really well, very happy with that also. And if all goes well, we won't have to come back to this section until 3 years from now for the first shaping. And in the meantime, I'll see you guys back at the end of June to shape those trees and get them ready for Christmas 2023. Thank you so much for watching. If you've liked, please make sure you subscribe, like, and comment. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.